The courtroom was packed, so tense you could feel it. Cameras flashed, reporters whispered, and Sister Wives fans leaned in, but one voice cut through the noise. Christine, shaky but firm, stood and said something that shocked everyone. This is abuse. This isn't a family, it's control. The room went silent. The judge stopped talking, interested. Even the lawyers looked surprised. Those words, abuse, not family, control, felt very important, even more so than Christine's size. For years, people watched the Sister Wives on TV, the wives, the kids, the drama. Nobody saw this coming. Her words were a big deal. It wasn't just a complaint, it was a direct hit at the heart of the family. Kody Brown, the dad and main guy, was seen as a good leader who loved his polygamous life. But Christine said things weren't so happy behind the scenes. Her voice was emotional but strong. She talked about feeling trapped and ignored for years, living by rules that seemed to help Kody while she didn't get heard. I tried my best, she said, tears in her eyes, but love isn't about putting up with abuse or being controlled. There's a limit, and I crossed it for too long. The judge took notes. Christine's words were careful, honest, and planned. She showed what life was like behind closed doors, stressful, hard, and painful. People watching at home could feel her pain. Then Janelle stood up, calm and steady. While Christine was mad and hurt, Janelle was collected. She defended Kody and the polygamous life that had been their family for decades. Christine's feelings are real, Janelle shared, but it's not the whole story. Kody's always tried to be fair, to lead us with love and keep us together. Her words were different from Christine's. Janelle talked about choice and love, saying polygamy wasn't about control but a loving family where each wife had a say. She didn't think the Brown family was abusive, just a complex, loving group where each woman was important. The room got even more tense. Now you could feel the different viewpoints. Those who felt the same as Christine liked her words, while others liked Janelle's because they believed in family. The differences between the women made things felt dramatic, even outside here. The situation also raised a big question: is polygamy a real choice? Where's the line between choice and control? Christine said the family had bad power differences. Things that looked good on TV could be control and pressure. Janelle said some women truly enjoy this life and found happiness with Kody and each other. Fans knew this was different. TV often makes drama, but this was real. The cameras showed everything, every look, tear, and pause. People at home felt how important this was. Comments flooded online as fans argued. Was Christine asking for help or trying to win a fight? Was Janelle honest about love and loyalty or just hiding the truth? Even the kids, not here, were important. People understood Christine wanting to protect them. Janelle wanting to protect them showed how important family was. The TV people captured the lawyers, the judge, Christine's tears, Janelle standing tall, and Kody watching silently. Every look told a story. This episode, Season 20, Episode 12, felt really important. It wasn't just TV, it was a cultural thing. People would talk about it weeks from now, looking and thinking about every word. Social media would be a battlefield between Christine and Janelle. It left people wondering about love, choice, and family in different ways of living. Christine's words hung in the air. They weren't just claims, they made the audience look past the cameras and wonder what they'd been watching for years. As Janelle defended her side, the courtroom was a small version of a big national argument, an argument about values, choice, love, and the difference between helping someone and controlling them. By the end of the session, one thing was obvious: this was just getting started. Christine made a strong statement and Janelle fought back. The stress, feelings, and questions about truth meant the future sessions would be very crazy. Fans were hooked, and the internet was ready for what came next. Christine sat in court, her hands a bit shaky, but she stood tall. You could see the fear, hurt, and resolve in her eyes. This wasn't just some reality show stunt. This was her chance to tell her side of the story with the judge, lawyers, her family, and tons of fans all watching. She started slow, picking her words carefully. I've been trying to make this work for years, she said, her voice soft but strong. I wanted to believe in love and family, but I learned that love doesn't mean staying quiet. It doesn't mean putting up with being used or controlled. There's a limit, and I went past it a long time ago. Christine talked about when she and Kody started out and the whole polygamist family thing. At first glance, it seemed great. People saw this big, loving family sharing everything, kids laughing, and several wives getting along. But Christine's story showed what was really going on. The tough stuff that viewers didn't get to see. She talked about feeling alone, like she didn't matter in the bigger family, and how hard it was to be heard when her thoughts were ignored. I've always loved my kids with everything I have, Christine said, her voice cracking, but I couldn't keep living somewhere where what I needed and how I felt didn't count. I tried to work things out, tried to be patient, but it was hurting me, my mind, and who I am. Her words hit home with people who had been watching her story. Even those who knew Christine as the wife who spoke her mind the most had never heard her be so open. Every tear and every pause made her words even more powerful. It wasn't just an argument, it was the truth coming out. Christine then gave examples of what she thought was emotional use. She talked about Kody making choices for her, setting rules that changed her life, and not letting anyone disagree. She said some rules seemed to be about keeping control, not making things good for everyone. When you don't get to choose, when what you think doesn't matter, it's not a life you pick anymore. It's something you just put up with, she said. As Christine shared these stories, people in the court reacted quietly. Some nodded, understanding what she was going through. Others whispered, wondering if she was making things sound worse for the cameras or the court. But Christine didn't back down. She had something to say, and she was going to say it, no matter what people thought. She also talked about how hard it was to raise kids in this kind of family. Christine said it was tough to take care of herself and be a mom in a big, difficult family. My kids have always been my priority, she said, her voice full of feeling. But I can't let love keep me from seeing that some things about this family have been bad for me. And for my kids. Christine's story wasn't just about her problems. She brought up bigger questions about whether people in polygamist families really have a choice, even if fans see choice and love. She said that there's often pressure and that it's hard to really choose. Polygamy isn't bad in itself, she explained. But when one person has too much power over everyone else, it's hard to know what's a choice and what's being forced. The court was quiet as she spoke, her words creating a clear picture of the tough times she'd been through. Her story wasn't just about fighting. It was about trying to survive, respect herself, and be brave enough to speak up against something that was holding her back. Everyone in the room felt the importance of what she was saying: the judge, the lawyers, her family, and the people watching online. Christine also talked about how she felt inside, explaining how she struggled before deciding to speak up. Fear, embarrassment, and guilt made her wait. But she knew that staying quiet would just keep the bad things happening. I can't be okay with something that's hurting me or my kids, she said, her voice shaky. I have to tell the truth, even if it makes me look weak. Her words caused a reaction online. Social media blew up with comments. Fans cheered her courage, argued about whether polygamy was fair, and guessed how her story would affect the Brown family. Some were shocked, wondering if they had misunderstood what was going on behind the cameras. Others praised her honesty, saying it was time for people to really think about family structures and mental health. Christine didn't hold back when talking about her family. She talked about Kody and how his way of leading, even though he wanted to keep things fair, sometimes caused problems. She talked about times when choices were made without her, making her feel left out or ignored. Kody might think he's protecting the family, but protecting without listening isn't love, she said. During her story, Christine also pointed out the difference between what people see and what's real. Fans often saw what was filmed, edited, and shown on TV, but she said that behind the scenes there was constant work, dealing, and sometimes use. TV shows a perfect picture, she explained, but things aren't that simple. There are feelings, fights, and problems that viewers don't see, but I've lived them. She also talked about times when they made up and thought about things. Christine said she still loved her family and wanted what was best for her kids, but she couldn't stay quiet about being hurt. I can't let being loyal keep me from seeing what's real, she said firmly. I love my family, but I also love myself and my kids enough to tell the truth. By the end of her story, Christine had shown her side of things, a life full of love, but also filled with problems and tough feelings in a polygamist family. She left the court with her head up, knowing she had told her truth. While fans everywhere argued about what her words meant, her story became more than just her own. It started a bigger talk about limits, consent, and what polygamist families are really like. It made viewers wonder about what they saw on TV and think about the tough stuff behind family, loyalty, love, and whether people really get to choose. The court was tense as she sat back down, leaving a heavy quiet. Christine's emotional story set the mood for the rest of the show. It was a serious, heartfelt, and memorable session that left viewers wanting to know what Janelle and the rest of the family would say. Basically, Christine's story wasn't just about old problems, it was her showing how brave she was, asking to be seen and challenging the audience to look past the cameras. She reminded everyone that behind the fancy reality TV, there are real feelings and real results that change people's lives. When Janelle stood up, the courtroom got quiet. You could feel the tension. Everyone was watching her, not making a sound. Christine's testimony had been emotional and raw, and the room was still heavy with the things she'd said. Everyone waited to hear what Janelle would say in response. What would her defense be for Kody and the polygamous life she'd lived for so long? Janelle was the opposite of Christine. Christine was shaky, her voice full of hurt and anger. But Janelle seemed calm and in control. She moved carefully and picked her words on purpose. She'd clearly thought about what she wanted to say, ready to defend her husband and her way of life. What Christine said is how she feels. And those feelings are real to her. Janelle started, her voice clear and strong. But that's not how things really are with our family. Kody's always acted with love and good intentions. He's made choices to be fair, caring, and to keep us all happy together. Right away, she made it clear she was there to back up Kody, her family, and the way they lived, even if others didn't get it. She knew polygamy wasn't normal, maybe even caused controversy. But she said it was about agreeing to it, love, and respecting each other. Polygamy is a choice. She said, it's what we chose, each wife gets to decide. We all agreed to how our family works and it's made us happy, has been stable, shown love. People in the courtroom shifted in their chairs. Janelle's supporters were nodding, saw her as making sense, and saw her as a loyal wife defending her life. But others gave each other looks of skepticism. Was it right to defend something accused of messing with people's feelings? Was she ignoring Christine's pain, or did she see things differently? Janelle didn't just say she was loyal. She shared her own stories about the family, talking about times filled with love, understanding, and helping each other. She talked about family dinners with lots of laughter, trips that brought them closer, and conversations where everyone's ideas mattered. Our family isn't perfect, she said, but we try to be balanced, fair, and understanding. Kody hasn't tried to control anyone, he's guided them with love and care. She wasn't just defending them with empty words. She was trying to fix the story Christine had told. She said Christine had been upset and hurt, but that her perspective didn't show everything. Every relationship has tough times, Janelle said, but tough times aren't the same as abuse. Any family needs love, patience, and hard work. Our family may be weird in a good way, but it's based on those same things. The courtroom was buzzing. Reporters were writing everything down, trying to capture every detail. And people at home were glued to their TVs. Social media blew up right away, with people taking sides. Some were praising Janelle for sticking by them with such a calm head. Others were mad at her for brushing off Christine's claims. The fight online was just like the tension in the courtroom. This wasn't just some family drama anymore. It was a big conversation about polygamy, agreeing to it, and what's right and wrong. Janelle also talked about choice. She said that in their family, each wife could say what she thought, make choices, and help run the house. Christine had felt left out, but Janelle said others had felt happy and strong in the same situation. Polygamy isn't one size fits all, she said. Christine felt shut down, but others felt supported, guided, and loved. How you see it matters, and the real story is often complicated. She talked about specific times when Kody had tried to be fair. She told stories about tough choices they'd made together, trying to listen to what each wife worried about. She tried to paint a picture of a dad who, even though he wasn't perfect, cared most about keeping the family together and making sure everyone was okay. Kody's never meant to hurt anyone, she said, and he makes decisions thinking about what's best for the family. The different views became even clearer when Janelle talked about her own experience. Next to Christine's, she knew Christine's feelings were real, but said they were just one way of seeing things. We all have different lives, Janelle said. Christine's story is about her perspective, mine and others in the family is about love, balance, and respect. Both can be true, but they don't cancel each other out. Janelle stayed calm and peaceful throughout, a big difference from how emotional Christine had been. Her calmness was on purpose. It made people trust her, and it made her story sound real, that their family isn't normal, but it all comes down to respecting each other. She tried appealing to their minds and their hearts, painting a picture of a family that's complicated, sure, but not meant to cause pain. The courtroom showed its feelings in small ways. Some jurors were nodding, seeming to be touched by her stories and calm way of talking. Others were still doubtful, maybe still affected by Christine's passionate words. Reporters wrote down every moment, noticing how different the two women were, which made the court case feel more dramatic than regular reality TV. Janelle also mentioned the kids. She said the family was carefully set up so that each kid got love, attention, and stability. She knew polygamy could be hard, but she said that if done with care and respect, it could be a good place to grow up. Our kids are loved, supported, and valued, she said. We think about their well-being when making every choice. Social media went wild. Fans argued over whether Janelle was being honest or defensive. Was she really defending something that worked for her, or hiding deeper issues? Her supporters praised her for staying composed and sharing a well-thought-out perspective. While under so much stress, The courtroom scene showed a bigger conversation happening in society about polygamy and whether it's about control or choice. Christine's story raised important questions about power and what's okay emotionally, while Janelle defended the idea of agreeing to it, having freedom and love within the family. Together, their stories made a complex picture that made viewers think about both sides before deciding. By the end of her testimony, Janelle had defended them in a way that made sense. She didn't ignore Christine's pain but put it in the context of the whole family. She showed she was loyal, loving, and reasonable, making a story that was very different from Christine's emotional claims, but the tension was still there. People both in the courtroom and online were left trying to understand tough questions. Could things that seemed so opposite both be true in the same family? Was polygamy, like the Browns lived it, about love and choice, or something that might hurt some people's feelings? The different views had become a small version of the bigger fight, showing not just family problems but also how society feels about different ways of living. When Janelle sat back down, you could still feel the emotions in the courtroom. The difference between Christine's raw vulnerability and Janelle's careful defense had made the session dramatic and unforgettable. Viewers were waiting to see what happened next, wondering how the court, the family, and the public would react to these conflicting stories. In the end, Janelle's defense was more than just arguing back. It showed how dedicated she was to her family, how much she believed in her way of life, and how loyal she was to Kody. Her testimony showed how complex relationships can be, especially in polygamy, where love, choice, loyalty, and feelings all mixed together in complicated and often tricky ways. The courtroom had seen a fight of perspectives that was emotional and made you think. Christine had spoken from the heart, showing pain and frustration. Janelle had answered in a calm way, defending love and loyalty. Together, they made a dramatic story that will stick with viewers long after the cameras stop rolling, showing the small details of family, choice, and the difficult realities behind reality TV. When Janelle sat back down, the courtroom still buzzed. The clash between Christine and Janelle had turned into something bigger than just the Brown family. It was now about how people view polygamy. Everyone there knew they were seeing a big moment in reality TV history. The stakes felt way higher, and the courtroom had become a place for a huge emotional debate. The judge leaned in, thinking hard about the different stories he'd heard. Christine's words about what she saw as manipulation had shocked people. Janelle's calm defense was just as strong. This back and forth mirrored a bigger argument that people across the country were already talking about. In the courtroom, you could see how much was at stake. Some jurors seemed uneasy, nodding when Christine spoke. Others glanced at each other as if agreeing with Janelle. Reporters snapped pictures of every little thing, Christine wiping her eyes, Janelle standing straight, and Kody watching silently, looking worried, concerned, and maybe a bit impressed. Every small detail became a talking point, showing the human side of the story. Online, things blew up right away. Episode-related hashtags started trending everywhere. Topics like hashtag Christine Speaks and hashtag Polygamy Debate got tons of attention, not just from reality TV fans but also from people who cared about family and relationships. Clips of Christine's emotional words spread quickly while Janelle's steady defense got her praise for being loyal. The online debate was heated. Christine's supporters said she was brave for speaking out. Many felt it was important for people to have a voice in their families. People really felt for her as she tried to juggle her own needs with family loyalty. One fan wrote, "She's brave for standing up for herself and her kids. Sometimes love means telling the truth, even when it hurts." On the other side, Janelle's fans admired her loyalty and the fact that she stood by what she believed in. They said that polygamy, when done right, can be a supportive thing. They pointed out that Janelle's testimony showed how complex families can be, with different views and experiences, and that one person's unhappiness doesn't erase everyone else's joy. One fan wrote, "She's defending her family the best way she knows how. It's not easy to stay calm under pressure, but she's doing it well." This online fight mirrored what was happening in the courtroom. Christine's vulnerability and Janelle's logic made people think about this question. Can different truths exist in one family? Christine pointed to potential problems, while Janelle talked about the love and support that can be found in polygamy. Both sides had a point, and that made things really interesting. The drama also showed the difference between what people see on TV and what's actually happening. Reality TV is often carefully edited, but Christine's testimony talked about the unseen struggles that go on behind the scenes. Janelle reminded everyone that there's also happiness, support, and love that the cameras might miss. This made people think about the ethics of reality TV and whether viewers should remember they're only seeing part of the story. Legal experts chimed in too. They analyzed the testimonies, discussing if Christine's claims could qualify as abuse and how Janelle's defense might affect how people see polygamy. One said, "This case is interesting because it's more than just one family. It's about how society views unusual lifestyles and how different people's experiences can be. Even in the same family, people notice the emotional complexity." Christine's struggle showed the problems some people face when balancing their own needs with family loyalty. Janelle's defense showed that others can find happiness in the same system. The mix of these views made it more than just typical TV drama, making people think about love and boundaries. The reactions in the courtroom showed how intense things were. Some jurors looked moved by Christine's testimony, looking at each other with sympathy. Others seemed convinced by Janelle's description of family life, seeing her loyalty as genuine. The judge stepped in to keep order, reminding everyone of how serious the issues were. People started talking about it in a bigger way, too. Articles discussed every detail of the episode. Some framed Christine's story as a warning about the risks of polygamy, while others praised Janelle for defending different kinds of families and the importance of consent. It became more than entertainment, it was a conversation, sparking arguments across different groups of people. The debate also touched on how kids are raised in polygamous families. Christine worried about emotional neglect, while Janelle talked about the structure and attention given to each child. Both made people think about the well-being of kids in these families. Viewers had to think about how love and guidance can be different depending on one's place in a family. It became clear that the episode had done something rare for reality TV. It made people think, feel for different people, and face complex issues. The mix of emotion, loyalty, scrutiny, and debate created a powerful story that went beyond just TV. Fans kept talking about it late into the night. Some created videos analyzing body language, while others wrote detailed comparisons of Christine's and Janelle's testimonies. The courtroom had become a digital place for a national talk. The session showed that reality is rarely simple. Christine's story showed pain, frustration, and complexity, while Janelle's defense showed loyalty. Both were real, but they clashed in a way that made people question everything. It was clear that the debate was just beginning. The courtroom had shown two very different stories, and the effects would be far-reaching. Viewers were left to think about family, choice, and the dynamics of love and polygamy. The reactions showed how complex human relationships are and how much perception shapes what people think. The courtroom may have been one place, but the discussion spread worldwide. Every comment became part of a larger conversation about polygamy, consent, and family. Christine and Janelle's testimonies were more than just stories. They were things people could relate to, sparking reaction from viewers who felt emotionally invested in the drama. As the session ended, the courtroom was still tense. Christine's courage had made an impact, while Janelle's defense had balanced things out. Together, they had created a story that was rich and deeply human. The debate was far from over, and viewers were waiting to see what happened next, knowing that the story of the Brown family was not ending anytime soon. As the court session ended, you could still feel the stress and unresolved junk hanging in the air. Christine had just aired her complaints about Kody and the whole family setup, saying there was emotional game playing and mistreatment. Then, Janelle calmly jumped in, defending Kody and how they'd been living for ages. The different views left everyone hanging, and the audience, those in the room and millions at home, were left trying to sort through a bunch of feelings. Christine went back to her seat, clearly carrying the weight of what she'd said, but still holding her head up. She looked brave, even with everyone staring. For her, speaking up wasn't just about complaining. It was about getting her voice back, being her own boss, and keeping her kids safe from what she thought was a bad situation. Everything she said hit home with people, especially those who felt ignored, pushed aside, or trapped in their own lives. Fans online praised her guts, talking about how hard it is to face super personal stuff in such a public and potentially divisive place. At the same time, Janelle's testimony kept her image strong as the family's loyal supporter. The way she spoke, her solid points, and her insistence that they chose their polygamous life resonated with a different group of viewers. Lots of folks respected her for sharing a view you don't often hear when people talk about polygamy. That not all wives feel stuck or mistreated, and that families, even if they're odd, can still give love, support, and happiness. Janelle's defense made it clear that how you see things and what you go through is personal. What hurts one person might be guidance, structure, or love to another. What went on in the courtroom matched what people were saying outside. Jurors, legal people, and reporters gave off subtle signs that showed how complicated it was to balance these stories. Some nodded as Christine shared her feelings, while others seemed comforted by Janelle's explanation of how the family worked. The judge stayed neutral, but what each woman said hung heavy in the room. The episode started a huge conversation. Social media blew up with everything from support for Christine's side to admiration for Janelle's loyalty and cool head. Hashtags like hashtag Christine speaks, hashtag Janelle defends, hashtag sister wives drama, and hashtag polygamy debate were trending all over. Memes, reaction videos, and fan breakdowns flooded YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, proving it was more than just a TV show. It was a cultural moment that got people talking about love, family, choice, and right and wrong. Critics and fans argued about the small details of polygamy, questioning where choosing ends and pressure begins. Christine's story made clear the possible emotional risks of living in a system where one person has too much power. Janelle's defense showed how there can be love, stability, and support as long as everyone agrees and respects each other. These different views made viewers really think about their assumptions, what's right and wrong, and the real, complicated stuff behind families that aren't normal. Legal experts joined too, giving their 2 cents on how the testimony might hit the Brown family's image and any future legal stuff. Some felt Christine's words could sway how the public sees them, maybe even influencing court stuff or what the media says. Others said Janelle's strong defense reinforced that polygamous relationships can be okay, well put together, and loving, which goes against the usual stereotypes you see on TV. The Brown kids, even though they weren't in the courtroom, were a big part of the story. Christine's worry for them showed how emotional this all was, while Janelle's defense stressed the care, attention, and love they each got. This showed how hard it can be to raise kids in a big, polygamous household where everyone can have a valid but totally different view. Fans online really dug into this, sharing their own thoughts and experiences that echoed what was going on in court. Christine's guts and honesty also got bigger conversations going. Many viewers saw similarities between her life and problems in regular families, like power trips, emotional ignoring, or unacknowledged pressure. Her story went beyond just polygamy, sparking talks about personal limits, standing up for yourself, and why it's important to speak out against stuff you think is wrong even when it involves people you care about or complicated relationships. On the flip side, Janelle's strong loyalty showed another key part of family life, how good people are at bouncing back, understanding, and sticking to shared values. She showed that odd lifestyles can work fine if they're based on everyone agreeing, talking openly, and respecting each other. As the talks went on, it was apparent the Brown family's story wasn't finished. This court session, episode 12 of Season 20, was a turning point, a moment where old complaints clashed with present defenses, making a story full of emotional twists and tough choices. The effects of this episode keep echoing across media, influencing fan opinions, public talks, and maybe even how the family works from now on. Fans kept picking apart every moment, replaying Christine's tearful testimony and Janelle's composed defense, watching gestures, tone, and little expressions. Live stream chats, reaction videos, and fan blogs dug into everything, guessing about the long-term effects on the Brown family's relationships, image, and media coverage. The court might be done, but the conversation had just begun. Christine's emotional honesty motivated others to think about their own lives, building empathy and understanding among viewers. At the same time, Janelle's defense sparked thought about loyalty, love, and how your choices shape your family. The episode became more than a reality TV thing. It turned into a cultural conversation about being independent, taking care of your mind, and the complexities of human relationships in unusual situations. The court session was both a challenge and a chance for the Brown family. Christine spoke her truth, making visible the pain and frustration she'd felt for years. Janelle put up a strong defense, reinforcing the love, loyalty, and structure that had defined their family. The tension between these stories made it clear that truth isn't one thing. It's complex, shaped by how you see things, what you've been through, and your feelings. As the episode ended, viewers had questions. Could the family reconcile their different experiences? Would public opinion influence the family dynamics? And how would what happened in court shape the future both for the Browns and for viewers thinking about love, loyalty, and choice in their own lives? In the end, Season 20, Episode 12 reminded viewers that behind the drama of reality TV is the complexity of real human relationships. Christine's guts, Janelle's loyalty, and Kody's leadership made a story that was deeply interesting, emotionally charged, and thought-provoking. It showed the thin line between love and control, choice and pressure, loyalty and personal space, a look that resonated far beyond the TV screen. The courtroom was just a temporary stage, but the impact of this episode will last. Fans will keep talking about it, dissecting it, and thinking about it for weeks, months, even years. The clashing views, the emotional heat, And the questions raised turned a family fight into a cultural moment, one that made viewers face the complexities of love, family, and personal freedom in ways that few reality TV episodes ever have. In the end, the Brown family's story reminded everyone that reality TV, while fun, often hides layers of emotion, conflict, and human experience. Christine and Janelle showed that behind the cameras, real struggles exist, views differ, and the search for love and understanding is never easy. The courtroom might have closed, but the story, the questions, and the debate will keep grabbing and challenging viewers, leaving a lasting mark on reality TV and the hearts of those who watched.